Hello everyone! Hope you all had a good New Year's. Well, it's our first video of 2018 and it is time for us to expand our horizons, do something more interesting and profound, and...
You're just going to make another Power Rangers Super Sentai comparison video.
You don't know, I could do another Beetleborgs episode.
And talk about what? Metallics? Oh, just do what you usually do. I am your Lord God Megazord, and I am always right. And you should listen to everything I say.
Did you just say you were infallible?
There is nothing phallic about calling my sword the God Horn. Why does everyone...
Infallible. It means incapable of doing wrong.
Oh, yes, I am a perfect, immaculate being, incapable of mistakes.
I'll take that bet. I bet I can prove that you are capable of making mistakes during the next video.
If you lose, you must do a Let's Play of the Zyuranger game for the Famicom.
If I win, you have to house train Kumard. He's made of plastic. How does he even...
I accept your terms. Let the challenge commence.
Part 1. Chicken of Doom. Well, before I can win my bet with Daizyujin, I'm going to need to set up some context with the Power Rangers episode, Big Sisters.
It starts in the youth center, doesn't it?
Maybe. You don't know. It might...
Footage is rolling. That's clearly the youth center.
There are episodes that don't start in the youth center, but it's an easy place to justify all the characters meeting up and just hanging out, so it's very easy to see why they use it so much. Kimberly and Trini are trying to find a young girl named Maria that they promised to be big sisters to for the weekend. It doesn't take them long to find Maria when she turns off the hot water to the boys' locker room, causing all the men to run out in a comical fashion. When pressed as to why she would do such a horrible thing, Maria reveals that she just wanted Kim and Trini's attention. They agree to go on a picnic and be best friends.
Is this the episode conflict?
Nope. It's an issue that gets introduced and resolved in 5 minutes.
That was fast conflict resolution. If only conversations in real life worked that way. Kumard! Bad Bear! Why would you do something like that?
Wow, I didn't know. I wish I'd realized. I wish I could help Kumard, but my dad is still alive.
I also lost my father at a young age. He wasn't watching his step and fell out of the sky. His body exploded upon hitting the earth and turned into every dinosaur fossil, causing mass confusion and embarrassment for everyone.
Really?
It's okay, my ursine friend. We're all here for you. Glad to hear that your traumatic, emotional childhood scar has been healed by the power of our friendship. Good Bear.
Rita is going to have none of this picnic nonsense. She has found the power eggs and intends to use them to destroy the Rangers. Somehow. The eggs are protected by a barrier that can only be opened by a child. Rita has Finster create the chunky chicken monster specifically to kidnap said child. While Kimberly and Trini are having fun with Maria in the park, they are attacked by putties and Maria is kidnapped.
I thought she made the chicken monster specifically to kidnap the child. Why isn't the monster at the park? Why did she kidnap a child the Rangers were with? If any child would do, wouldn't it be better for her to kidnap one the Rangers had no connection with to keep them from knowing her plan?
It is weird that they don't have the chunky chicken take Maria. They haven't shied away from using the monster suits in the American footage before, and so it's strange they didn't try this time. The girls go find the rest of the team to figure out their next course of action. Unfortunately, communication with the command center is down, and teleportation isn't working either. It's time for Billy to whip out a new invention. A Volkswagen.
German engineering at its peak. The ultimate vehicle.
Billy calls his invention the Rad Bug. It's a useful flying car. The Rangers take the Rad Bug to the command center where Alpha gives the best line in the episode.
It's an old car.
Zordon explains to the Rangers that the power eggs are relics made by ancient heroes that have a universe of power in them that could make Rita unstoppable.
The ultimate item in the universe isn't a sword or a gun or even a giant robot. No, it's goddamn eggs.
The Rangers head off in the Rad Bug to find the eggs before Rita can have Maria open the box. They're too late as the chunky chicken made Maria open the box off screen. I understand that the American actress couldn't be in the Japanese footage, but this still feels really lazy. The Rangers catch up to the monsters and morph to fight them. During the fighting, the eggs are cast into the ocean. Rita is unable to find the eggs as they float away. Rita then has Chunky Chicken take Maria to a warehouse where she is dangling from a rope. Rita threatens to cut down Maria unless the Rangers deliver the eggs to her.
When did this happen? Weren't the Rangers just fighting the Chunky Chicken? When did he go back and get Maria? How did he get her tied up at the warehouse without anyone following him and seeing what he was doing? I don't understand what's going on.
It's just lazy and terrible editing, Daizyujin. This episode just suffers more from it than an average episode because they didn't film any additional footage to use as a transition between scenes.
Just give me a minute. I need a drink.
Better.
Enough. Well, enough for now.
The Chunky Chicken cuts the line and it looks as though Maria is going to fall to her death. But fortunately, the Rangers catch her in the Megazord and put her down by the Rad Bug and remotely control it to take her to safety. They then fight and kill one of the least intimidating monsters in the show. After killing the Chunky Chicken, we see Ernie and some teens watching the news where the Rangers' heroic exploits are commentated on and praised. Ernie announces that his veggie chili is on the house and...
Veggie chili.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to encourage kids to eat healthy, despite that monstrous ice cream sundae Zach was eating earlier. Since the chili is on the house, everyone crowds Kimberly and she tosses it on Bulk.
What the hell? Why is Bulk being punished? He didn't even do anything this episode. He was just minding his own business, trying to eat his ice cream.
This was still early season 1. They had started a formula and were sticking to it. At least Kimberly apologizes for it.
Sorry, Bulk. It was supposed to be on the house, not on you.
Well, that's the Power Rangers episode, Big Sisters. The acting is actually not bad, and some of the original sequences, like the Megazord's hand as it's bringing Maria to safety, are pretty decent for the show's budget. That being said, this would be low on my list of best episodes. There's no moral or point to anything. The monster is unimaginative, the pacing is bad, and transitions between scenes are incredibly jarring. While it's nice watching Kimberly and Trini in the big sister role, they don't have to learn anything about responsibility, and Maria doesn't actually learn anything about not being a troublemaker, making the whole episode just feel like a huge, pointless waste of time. Well, that ends our analysis of the Power Rangers episode. It's time to move on to the Zyuranger episode and have our challenge officially begin.
Oh, it's on. Be ready to play Pong with the Dragon Zord.
No! No! It is humanity that will win this day!
We'll see.
Part 2. The Ethics of Gods. So, first of all...
Let me guess, it's a two-parter, right?
Yep. We open our episode with a few characters we've never seen or heard of before hanging out in a flying car trying to get to Japan.
With the show being called Zyuranger, you'd think they'd spend more time on the Zyurangers.
Barza uses his giant ear and detects an abnormality. We then immediately cut to our obligatory child character for this arc, Emiko. Emiko comes home and has a short conversation with her mother that ends with the magic car appearing in the middle of their living room.
Emiko and her mother are justifiably scared and curious about this Volkswagen's sudden appearance in their home.
Our eccentric characters introduce themselves as Baron Krockle, his wife Daisy, and their young master Prince Euro. There's a knock on the door and, surprise, it's Dora Golems.
I hate it when that happens. At least it's not the NHK, man.
What?
Cultural joke. Don't worry, most people won't get it.
There's another ring at the door, and this time it's the Zyurangers, appearing almost 4 minutes into the episode.
The Zyurangers see the golems, and an epic battle happens.
I actually really like this sequence. This fight honestly gets me more pumped and engaged than a lot of the big spectacle fights we've had in the show. There's something about the small space that forces the fight choreography to be more interesting, and having the setting be in a domestic, mundane house gives the fight a unique personality. If I had a list of top 5 fighting sequences from the show, this one would definitely be near the top of that list.
I don't know. There aren't enough giant robots for my liking.
During the fight, the story's main monster, Dora Cockatrice, shows up and kidnaps the kids. They are transported to an area where Bandora is waiting and wants Yuro to tell her the location of some eggs. Yuro then takes Emiko and escapes the scene. Meanwhile, back at the sanctuary, Barza explains the situation.
In the world of Zyuranger, humans and dinosaurs existed side by side millions of years ago and evolved together. The evil witch Bandora attacked and killed most, if not all, of the dinosaurs.
Take that, science! It wasn't changing weather conditions or natural disasters that killed the dinosaurs. It was a pissed-off witch.
After Bandora was sealed on planet Nemesis and the Zyurangers were put into hibernation, the ancient tribes had 2 dinosaur eggs which they put into the ocean for safekeeping, because there's no danger in the ocean.
Why didn't they just give the eggs to Barza? That would have been much easier. He could have directly watched over them from a place of safety. I mean, if he was entrusted with guardianship of the Zyurangers, why not just entrust him with the eggs too while you're at it?
There was a very solid plan put in place. The eggs eventually end up with the Apelos tribe on Delos Island, where my guardian beast form showed up and told them to safeguard the eggs until the Zyurangers awakened, since that would be about the time the eggs would awaken as well.
Does it normally take millions of years to hatch?
These are magic eggs. Stop asking questions.
Fine. The Zyurangers and Baron Crockle go on a hunt for Cockatrice's portals so that they can find Yuro and Emiko. The only way to find the portals is by wearing these stupid glasses. Man, those guys look so dumb.
Bandora figures out that the Apelos tribe had the eggs and attacks them, prompting the tribe to come to Japan to seek help from the Zyurangers.
While the Zyurangers and Baron Crockle are looking for the portal, Emiko and Yuro are trying to find their way around. They find a restaurant where a friendly waiter in a mask shows up to take their order.
Nothing suspicious about this at all. Why are all my followers so dumb?
The waiter turns out to be Dora Cockatrice in disguise. Yeah, I know. You're all shocked. Wonder who that is. Sorry, buddy. If you're going to sell me something, you're going to have to speak English. While Emiko and Yuro are hiding from Dora Cockatrice, Emiko makes the discovery that Yuro isn't entirely human. She runs away and gets captured by Cockatrice. Bandora reveals what happened to the Apelos tribe.
They were once the pickers of my magnificent golden fruit. But Cockatrice tricked them into eating one, and so I justifiably turned them into monkeys and exiled them for eternity on a piece of shit island.
Don't you think that's kind of harsh? I mean, that's kind of like cutting off a person's hand for stealing a loaf of bread.
When you're an infallible dinosaur god beast mecha, you need to put the commoners in their place, or they'll walk all over you. What? I gave them an out. If they successfully protect the dinosaur eggs, I'll let them back into heaven, or the garden, or wherever I live. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Okay, so yeah, you heard us right. The Apelos tribe are a group of people who got punished for being tricked into eating their god's golden fruit. Does that make the guardian beasts or Daizyujin god?
It kind of does.
No, it really doesn't. I mentioned in my Halloween episode that the Japanese love referencing Western mythology and religion, and this is just one of those references. I'm not really sure where the Cockatrice comes in, though. I feel like the Snizzard or Dora Ladon would have been more appropriate.
Well, according to this internet, You probably have me to thank for this wonderful invention somehow. The word cockatrice shows up in the original King James translations of the Bible, prominently in Isaiah, but also in Jeremiah and Proverbs. This was due to translators not knowing the original Hebrew word. Modern translations replace cockatrice with snake, adder, etc.
Really? That's neat.
The snake monster, or Dora Ladon, wouldn't have worked. He's actually a reference to Greek mythology. Ladon was the guardian of the golden apples in the Garden of Hesperides. He gets killed by Hercules since stealing the apples is one of his 12 labors.
Wow, there's a lot of weird references in this show.
You have no idea.
Euro gives up the location of the eggs to save Emiko. Bandora breaks her word and cuts Emiko down. I didn't mention this earlier, but this is somewhere where Power Rangers actually did a good job. You'll notice that Emiko and Maria are wearing the same costume and have the same hairstyle. This allowed Power Rangers to use the footage of Emiko dangling from far away since you can't make out her distinctive features. This detail is one of the reasons the laziness of Big Sisters really annoys me. This is actually a pretty neat trick. Back to the main topic. Emiko is rescued by Daizyujin, and I think the Megazord person composite trick actually worked better in the Power Rangers episode. Emiko is put on the ground and is picked up by Euro and his servants. Daizyujin and Cockatrice have a bit of a lackluster fight.
They can't all be amazing.
Dora Cockatrice is defeated. Emiko is stuck with Euro, Baron Crockle, and Daisy as they head back to Delos Island. The Zyurangers and Bandora are also racing to Delos Island, setting the stage for the second part. Wow, the existence of these dinosaur eggs seems like a really big deal. I'm really interested to see where they're going with this.
Well, you're going to have to wait another 20 episodes or so.
What?
I said let's finish watching the second part.
Okay, we start off with Bandora finding the cave where the eggs are hidden. She can't get to them, though, because of a magical barrier, and the only way to remove the barrier is to get rid of one of the crystal orbs. We then have the Zyurangers and Emiko and Euro's group meeting up with the rest of the Apellos tribe. After reuniting with his subjects, Euro agrees to take the Zyurangers to the cave the eggs are hidden in. Unfortunately, Bandora shows up and collapses the cave, keeping our heroes from entering.
Rocks. The one weakness of all super-powered heroes.
Euro is worried because if the dinosaur eggs hatch inside the cave, they'll die quickly from lack of air or resources. Crockle reveals that there is a second entrance to the cave on the other side of the mountain, but that they are going to have to go through a bomb field.
Bombs. A super-powered hero's second one weakness.
Hey, Daizyujin, couldn't you just remove the rocks from the cave?
Like a peasant? My power isn't for such a menial task.
But it's the eggs containing the last of your kind.
If they can't figure out how to get around rocks, they are a disgrace to the family.
Bandora makes a second Dora Cockatrice because the last one did such a good job.
Wasn't there only one fight with the Chunky Chicken and Power Rangers?
Yeah, just like the Frankenstein fight in Life's a Masquerade, the Power Rangers episode actually combines fight footage from two different mecha battles. The Zyurangers try to cross the bomb field to discover that the bombs are in fact savages living in the area that throw bombs at people. They're never explained. It's a funny idea and pun, but it comes out of nowhere and just leans more towards the needlessly weird side than fun absurdness. During the attack from the bombs, Emiko and Euro get separated from the Zyurangers. They eventually find each other, and Emiko reveals that she knows the location of the second entrance to the cave with the dinosaur eggs. Things are looking up. Or are they? Turns out that this Emiko is actually Dora Cockatrice in disguise. The Zyurangers find the real Emiko, but are unable to get to Euro in time. Euro is tricked by Cockatrice, who is able to destroy one of the crystal balls powering the barrier. With the barrier gone, Pandora's minions come and take the eggs.
This is the exact kind of thing that made me turn them into monkeys.
If only there was a wise guardian loyal to you that you could have entrusted these important eggs to.
Shut up! Just don't. The
Zyurangers fight Dora Cockatrice, which eventually results in the second, much more interesting mecha battle. While that is going on, Euro's tribe, Emiko, and Pandora's minions are all playing hot potato with the dinosaur eggs. Eventually, one of the bombs gets the eggs and they fall into the ocean.
You all had one stupid job. Actual monkeys would have been better at this.
You know, you could have just...
If you mention Barza again, I'm going to shove the god horn up your ass. It won't kill you or hurt that bad, but it will be embarrassing and annoying.
The Zyurangers defeat Dora Cockatrice and together with the Apellos tribe search for the eggs. But they are gone and lost to the ocean. The guardian beasts show up.
And are justifiably pissed. We declare that the Apellos tribe will remain monkeys for all eternity for their failure.
But the Zyurangers make an appeal to the guardian beasts. And this is the part of the story that I find the most interesting. Western culture is shaped heavily by Christianity. In Christianity, God is perfect and incapable of making mistakes. And so most Western stories that involve interaction between mortals and their god result in the mortals learning to respect that, identifying their own faults, and then changing themselves to fit God's ideal vision of the world. Eastern tradition doesn't quite work that way. Gods are still wise, powerful, and should be respected, but they're not all powerful or infallible. Just look how gods are represented in shows like Dragon Ball Z and Super, Oh My Goddess, and Soul Eater. In all these shows, the gods are not perfect and make mistakes like humans. At the end of this story arc, the Zyurangers appeal to the guardian beasts not to be hard on the Apellos tribe. They got tricked, but they're also human and genuinely tried their best to protect those dinosaur eggs. The Zyurangers' plea works and the guardian beasts restore the humanity of the Apellos tribe and let them back into heaven, or the fruit garden, or wherever Daizyujin lives. It's honestly something that I think could be interesting in Western theater and film. We're seeing the growth of a more secular society, but there really haven't been many films that I'm aware of that explore a narrative viewpoint of God's fallibility. Imagine a film where God is capable of making mistakes and is even called out on it. It may be blasphemous, but I bet it sounds way more interesting than another movie about Jesus, Moses, or that Samson movie that everyone's already forgotten about. The relationship between mortals and gods, or God, can only really mean anything or have any real relevance if the gods or God can relate to humans on a personal level. And that involves them being fallible. In the end, the Zyurangers convince the guardian beasts to be better gods, to show mercy and compassion. It's the part of the story that I find the most engaging, and I really wish there were more scenes like this in the show as a whole.
That is true, and you make some interesting points. But, Nielzabub, I think you're overlooking something important.
And what's that?
None of that proves I make mistakes. That just proves I can be a dick who needs to reconsider how he interacts with lower life forms. Get ready for hot potato with Lammy.
None of the bad things in this episode would have happened if you had just given the eggs to Barza in the first place. This entire storyline is you making mistakes, or at least subpar decisions. Do you really want me to go in more detail?
I'll show you subpar decisions, questioning my methods, and whining to Barza about... You see, logic would dictate that Barza would be the most reasonable person to guard the eggs, but you see, the issue with that is that's logical. We don't run with logic here. We need to go with what story we could take, and think about how magical the story would be if you threw a chest of eggs in the ocean and they washed up on an island with golden eggs and people that turn into monkeys and flying cars and, oh, bad child actors. The potential is endless. My booze!
Oh! You know that whole house training your pet bear thing? Well, that starts now.
Frozen Bear doesn't even eat anything. What's there to poop out? Conservation of mass is it's what I don't.
Well, that's all for now. Take care, and hopefully you'll all have a good year.